Jake, I need to tell you about something that happened to me in a meeting last week, and it still makes me a little embarrassed to think about it.
Uh-oh, what happened?
So, someone asked me a question, a totally normal question, nothing difficult, and for about 3 seconds, my mind just went completely blank. I knew the words, I knew the answer, but my brain just froze. And in that silence, I felt my face get hot, and I just said, like 3 times before anything came out.
Oh, I know that feeling so well.
And afterwards, I kept thinking, my English is not even bad. I know the vocabulary, I know the grammar, so why did I freeze like that? Why did my brain just stop working?
Because here's the thing nobody tells English learners. Your English was never the problem in that moment. Your panic was the problem. And panic is not a vocabulary issue. It's not a grammar issue. It is a completely different problem that needs a completely different solution.
That actually makes me feel so much better already. Say more about that.
Welcome everyone to Real Talk Podcast. I am Jake and this is Mia, and today we are talking about the number one thing that actually holds English learners back. And it is not vocabulary, it is not grammar, it is confidence. And more specifically, it is what happens in your brain in that split second when the words do not come and you feel yourself starting to panic. Today, we are giving you the actual phrases and techniques that let you sound calm and confident, even when your brain is completely blank.
I need this so much. Okay, where do we start?
We start with understanding what is actually happening in that moment. When you freeze mid-conversation, it is not because you forgot English. It is because your nervous system has decided that this moment is a threat. And when your brain thinks it's under threat, it pulls resources away from calm, careful thinking and puts them toward fight or flight, which is the worst possible state for retrieving vocabulary from memory.
So it's not that I forgot the word, it's that my brain decided this was an emergency and stopped letting me access the word at all.
Exactly. And here's the good news. If panic is the problem, then panic has a solution. And the solution is not to somehow never feel nervous again. The solution is to have a set of phrases so automatic, so second nature, that you can say them even when your brain is completely blank. These phrases buy you time, keep the conversation moving, and most importantly, they make you sound thoughtful and composed instead of panicked.
Okay, I love that. Sounding thoughtful instead of panicked. Let's get into me actual phrases.
Let's start with what I call buying time phrases. These are phrases you use the instant you need a few seconds to gather your thoughts before you've even figured out what you're going to say.
Give me an example.
The classic one is, "That's a great question. Let me think about that for a moment." Notice what this does. It's not filler. It's not empty. It actually complements the question, and it openly tells the other person, "I'm thinking, please give me a second," which is completely normal and completely acceptable in any language.
And it sounds so much better than just going silent and staring at someone.
Exactly. Silence without explanation makes people uncomfortable and makes you look unsure. But silence that's labeled, silence where you have told the listener what is happening, feels completely natural. Other versions of this same phrase are, "That's an interesting point. Give me a second to think it through." Or, let me think about the best way to answer that.
I actually really like, let me think about the best way to answer that. It sounds so natural.
It's because native speakers use these constantly. Confident English speakers pause all the time. The difference between them and a nervous learner is that they narrate the pause instead of letting it sit there unexplained.
Okay, what's next?
Next is what I call thinking phrases. These are slightly different from buying time phrases because you use these while you're actually in the middle of forming your thought, not just before it.
So, like when you're mid-sentence and you lose the word?
Exactly. Phrases like, "How can I put this?" Or, "What is the word I'm looking for?" Or, "Let me find the right way to say this." These phrases are incredibly powerful because they turn a moment of losing your words into a moment of careful, precise thinking. Instead of the listener thinking they don't know this word, they think they're being thoughtful about how to say this exactly right.
That's such a mindset shift. The same silence that feels like failure becomes proof that you're being careful with your words.
That's exactly it. And here's something important. Even fluent native speakers lose words constantly. It happens in every language. The difference is fluent speakers have automatic phrases to bridge that gap, so it never feels like a breakdown.
Okay, I want to try one. If someone asks me about my job and I forget the word for a task I do, I could say, how can I put this? It's basically when I organize all the data before we present it to the client.
Perfect. You just demonstrated the exact technique. You didn't panic, you didn't apologize, you just used the bridge phrase and kept going.
I feel so powerful right now. Okay, what's the next category?
The next category is clarifying phrases. These are for when you're not sure you understood the other person correctly, or when you said something and you're not sure it came out the way you meant it.
This is such a big source of anxiety for me, not being sure if I understood correctly.
And so many learners just nod and pretend they understood because asking feels embarrassing. But that's actually more dangerous because you end up responding to the wrong thing entirely. Instead, try, if I understand correctly, you're saying that the deadline moved to Friday. Is that right?
That sounds so professional, actually.
It is, because confirming understanding is something everyone does, in every language, all the time. It's not a sign of weak English, it's a sign of careful listening. Other versions are, so what you're saying is, or just to make sure I'm following, you mean?
And what about when I said something and I'm not sure it made sense?
That's where phrases like, what I mean to say is, come in. This phrase is incredibly useful because it lets you go back and clarify without apologizing or drawing attention to a mistake. You just calmly say, what I mean to say is, and then you explain it more clearly.
Give me an example of that in action.
Let's say you say, I've been working in this company for 3 years ago, and you realize the grammar is off. Instead of stopping in horror, you simply say, sorry. Let me start again. I've been working here for 3 years, and you move on immediately.
And nobody even remembers the mistake because you handled it so smoothly.
Exactly. That's the secret that confident speakers know. It's never the mistake itself that makes you look unsure. It's how you react to the mistake. Panicking over a small error draws far more attention to it than calmly correcting yourself and moving forward.
That's honestly one of the most freeing things I've heard about language learning.
And it applies to every part of this conversation, actually. The goal was never to never freeze, never lose a word, never make a mistake. The goal is to have automatic responses ready so that when those moments happen, and they will happen, you have a smooth way through them instead of a silent panic.
I love that so much. Your English was never the problem. Your panic was the problem. And now panic has a solution.
Exactly. Subscribe to Real Talk Podcast and share this with someone who has ever frozen mid-sentence and felt their whole confidence disappear in 3 seconds, which again is all of us.
Drop a comment telling us which phrase you're going to try first. We genuinely read every single one.
Take care, everyone. Speak slowly, speak calmly, and remember, the pause is never the failure. It's just the moment right before confidence.
See you in the next one. Bye.